Guy Bailey. Welcome, President Bailey.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me here and appreciate what all of you do for the state of Texas. I know you have a hard job, and I've been before you many times, and you always make good decisions for the state, so thank you so much. And one of the decisions you made, a dozen years ago was to form UTRGV, and I think on behalf of all of the people in the Rio Grande Valley, I'll thank you for that. You wanted to ask for a university of the first class, first order down there, and I think we've made good progress toward that. We have roughly 34,000 students last fall. We've graduated almost 60,000 students in almost 10 years. About 2/3 of those first-generation students. And we've been able to do this and keep the cost of our institution less than it was at our legacy institution. So the average total cost of a degree at UTRGV is about $4,500. That's less than it was at our two legacy institutions. And because of that, we have the third lowest debt load among any public university in the United States, and the lowest, of course, in the state of Texas. And because of that, we have very high social and economic mobility among our students, and are always ranked usually first in the state and among the highest of institutions in the United States. And at the same time, we've been able to do some other things that you expect out of universities. Our research expenditures have tripled. They are about 90 million. They were at 90 million last year, and our NSF herd numbers should break 100 million, I think, this year. And we've added 45 new degree programs during that time, and these include bachelor's degrees, master's, things like cybersecurity, doctoral degrees, and things like human genetics, and then professional degree programs. We start our doctorate of physical therapy this fall, and in fall of 27, doctorate of optometry. And as you know, we have a doctorate of medicine in podiatric medicine, but that's for the next presentation. So we're very pleased with what we've been able to achieve. And again, this is largely through your help, and we appreciate that. So what are our requests? Well, first of all, we appreciate what you've done in the base bill for us, and we think that that's very good. Like everybody else, I'm going to mention institutional enhancement. But here's what we've used our institutional, it's about $8 million a year. Here's what we've used that for. We use that to start new programs, and then we fund that program. A good example is physical therapy that's starting this fall. Once it is fully enrolled and able to be self-supporting through the formula, we'll support another program. And so that's just a rotating startup fund for new program development. As I said, we've started up 45 new programs. So that's an important priority for us. I mentioned optometry. Optometry is a little bit different and will require some additional startup. And so we're asking for $10 million for a startup for that. And then we do a great deal for small businesses in the Valley, and Veronica Gonzalez, and most of you know her, heads up the efforts for that. And we're asking for a very small amount, $340,000, to help us increase and expand that. And then we're asking for some additional funding for work. We have a center in Starr County, and we want to expand our social work and some of our other mental health activities in Starr County. And so we deeply appreciate any help you could give us in doing those things, and I am available and happy to answer questions.
Thank you, President Bailey. And by the way, UTRGV, Rio Grande Valley, actually has a long history before we changed.
That's right.
Through legislation back in 2013, I think.
That's right.
We created a new medical school. And just a little bit of history, because it used to be Pan American Community College many years ago. And then it became just Pan American College. And then it became the University of Texas, and now is UTRGV. And as you all know, your student population right now, enrollment is around 34,000. Right. And the Rio Grande Valley is one of the fastest growing areas in the state of Texas. What do you project as to the continuing growth in the student population?
Well, it's interesting. We've been talking a lot about the enrollment cliff, and it faces us in a little bit different way. We still have a lot of babies in the valley, and not me personally, but the valley as a whole does, and so. But the fertility rate has declined there as well, and so we see that gradually dropping, and we know that we'll eventually be affected by that. But where we're most affected is other institutions understand that we have a lot of babies too, and so interestingly enough, recruiters who never came to the valley before are there all the time now, and so we see a lot of our students going outside the valley. Having said that, I think eventually we'll be around 40,000. And again, what we're trying to do is grow our enrollment at a good, steady pace, making sure that students who deserve an opportunity for higher education have that opportunity, and making sure that they have access to degree programs, high-quality programs, and things like engineering and healthcare, our two fastest-growing areas that lead to good jobs. And so that's probably what I see in the future. So,
did you make your medical school presentation already?
I have not. I'll do that as soon as we finish this.
Well, and one of the other, I guess, positive results of a new university in the valley is that we qualify for PUF funding also.
We do, and it was one of the most important things that happened with the creation of UT-RGV. UT System has been very generous in supporting us, and we've been able to do construction on both the Brownsville campus and the Edinburgh campus, and also in Harlingen, where we had facilities as well, medical facilities as well. So we've been able to, in a sense, spread the wealth across the Rio Grande Valley, and I think there's a great deal of appreciation for that.
And there are two main campuses, one in Edinburgh and one in Brownsville.
That's right. The Brownsville campus has about 8,000 students, and the remainder of the students, the largest number at the Edinburgh campus.
And you also have one in Starr County.
We do. We have a Starr County Center, and we have primarily preparing education professionals. People are going to be teachers there, but we'll be expanding that to social work and some other disciplines, especially disciplines where you need counseling that can affect mental health.
And actually, the university itself has been one of the key drivers of creating a middle class and professional class in the Rio Grande Valley.
We think so. If you look at 60,000 graduates, that's the equivalent of 3% of the population of the Rio Grande Valley. And so we're creating a well-educated workforce, I think, very rapidly. And again, providing them with degrees that lead to good jobs that I think really do help them move in the middle class. So it makes a big difference.
Senator Safarini.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. President, the coordinating board shows the UT-RGV as a doctoral university.
Yes.
Right after research, emerging research, and then doctoral universities. You're one of 10. Based on their criteria, what would it take for you to move up into the emerging research university category?
We actually have met the criteria, and so we should qualify for the NSRF funding. And in fact, the reason we're not a Carnegie Tier 1 institution, we don't produce enough PhDs and EDDs. So you have to have a certain number of doctoral degrees, and we don't have that yet. I think we produced 68 of those last year. We're on target to be a Carnegie Tier 1 by 2028.
Right, but I'm not looking at Carnegie.
Yeah, but if you're looking at state, we've met the criteria for the emerging research institutions, and we submitted that this past fall to the coordinating board.
And I think it was on the LBB presentation.
Yes, I think so.
Is Chancellor McCall here? No? Because
He's outside.
Texas State University had also met the criteria.
That's right.
Years ago.
Yes.
And they were left in the doctoral category for years before
is
they
that
were
right?
finally acknowledged. And so you might want to talk to him.
I will.
Because
I
it took a
will.
while.
Thank you.
It took a few years, and that was done. And
Okay.
of course, they have higher metrics than some of the other people. But
Right.
the coordinating board criteria are very different from the Carnegie.
Yes,
and
they are.
the
Yes, they are.
And that's why, since we're dealing with state funding, I'm looking to the coordinating
Yes.
board in those categories.
That's right.
And how is the system supporting your effort to move from the doctoral level to the emerging research? Well, you moved to the emerging research university, so how is it helping you move then into the research university category?
They've done two things in particular that have been helpful. First of all, they've helped with facilities. The PUF funding has been enormously helpful with building facilities. If you're building engineering programs, you're building health-related programs. These are facility programs that have significant facility needs, and so they've helped significantly there. But then there is also system funding to help us hire top-notch faculty members from around the United States, and so we've been able to use that funding as well. So both in hiring of faculty and the building of facilities, we've gotten very strong support from the system.
Texas Tech testified this morning that it had the only health science center along the border. And
Well, yeah, I love Dr. Lang. We're very good friends, and he looks after my daughter in El Paso, so I'll never say anything bad about him. But yes, we do. We have most of the things that a health science center has. We have not just medicine, we have podiatric medicine, we have physical therapy, occupational therapy, physician assistance program, nursing program, optometry will be coming online. So all of those things we will have at UTRGV.
so why is it that UT El Paso, or Texas Tech rather, has a health science center and calls it a health science center? You have a medical school and call it a medical school, not a health science center. And then San Antonio has both a health science center and a medical school. What's the difference?
Well, I think what's happening in San Antonio is what is happened with us, and is I think the more common national model. Instead of creating a separate institution with your medical school and other allied related health programs, you integrate them into the general academic, and that's what was done at UT Austin, and it's what's being done right now in San Antonio. If you can integrate all that together, you can create a significant powerhouse, and that's really what's happening in San Antonio. I used to be provost there, so I look at that with really a great deal of pride if what's happening there.
So does that have any impact on state funding, whether it's called a health science center and organized that way, or a medical school?
You know, the only thing that would be affected or is not how that's organized at that level, but how individual programs are funded, whether they're funded through the HRI formula or through the general academic formula. And so it shouldn't have, it's how the programs are funded and not how the medical school and the other things are organized administratively.
I didn't hear you mention Laredo and the UT Research and Education Center at Laredo.
Oh, that's a wonderful and important thing for us, and we're planning to add new programs in the future. As you know, we have social work, we have an education program, we're going to, clinical laboratory sciences program, we're going to expand there, and other things. We've been able to do this in large part through help from the UT system. The UT system has been very supportive in making that happen. So, and it's been very good for us as well. We've gotten great students. The social work program in particular is really thriving and in Laredo, and so we're very pleased with what's happening.
Thank you.
there.
But the point I made earlier, and I'll make it again, is we have facilities in the Valley,
That's
Laredo,
right.
and in El Paso, but we're talking about a 1,250-mile Texas-Mexico border. How can the border institutions, Texas Tech, UTEP, Laredo, and the Valley, collaborate to ensure that we address these higher educational needs of the entire border region?
That's a good question. What we really need to do is to look at where the gaps are. So we know that El Paso and the Rio Grande Valley, we're both doing pretty well, but we have gaps in Laredo, still significant gaps. And as you go upriver to Del Rio and places like that, there's still other gaps. And so I think it's going to require us and Texas Tech and working together, and probably the folks in San Antonio as well, to help fill those gaps.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And President Beatty, who used to be president of Texas Tech, and also served as president of University of Alabama.
Yeah, they recruit a lot of the students here. I mean, sometime I can tell you about that, but Texas is very important to Alabama.
Oh, I know you moved back to Texas. We appreciate that. Senator Kokos.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up. Are y'all having the GME issue?
Well, we are, and again, if you don't own a hospital, or it's hard to have enough GME slots, and so I think it's already been discussed, and so I think there's some problems, probably some just things that need to be adjusted in how things are funded, and that can help. But we have lots of applicants for GME slots. All our GME slots are full, and I think that's true of the hospitals in the valley too. I think they fill all their slots. The problem is just we need to add more GME programs. So.
Yeah, I think the challenge is that we don't need to go running around and building hospitals so we can file the.
That's exactly right.
I mean, this
that's
is
exactly right.
expensive. You heard my exchange with Dr. Hartzell in that, how are we paying for 2 new hospitals? These are all really good questions, and I think that there might be a solution out there, but to do things a little differently. So I'd encourage y'all to maybe meet with us. I'm going to work with Senator Hinojosa and others to secure these rotation slots and GME slots.
We absolutely love to do that, and we're at anytime it's convenient for you, we're more than happy to meet, because we're really anxious for a good, efficient
I know
solution.
Ms. Gonzalez, and I served with her in the Texas House. We did a lot of work together on the public health committee there. I think you're smarter. You got out of here. But I just really think that there's an opportunity here for us to look at this in a different way, work really hard for those GME spots. I mean, those statistics are pretty solid at about 73%.
That's right.
If you can do residency here, you stay here. I get frustrated that the investment we make in someone that then goes back to the East Coast or whatever.
That's right.
Who would want to live there? We can do this in a way and make sure that the taxpayer, all of this money, all the money you're asking for, all the money up and down this 8th largest economy in the world is predicated on a lot of great work out there by everyday citizens. And then when we come here to appropriate these dollars, it's their money. And so I think we're not interested in training students that then go to another state. I think that we need to try to keep those here in this growing dynamic state to meet the needs.
I couldn't agree with you more, and all of us are available. My medical school dean, Dr. Michael Hawker, is
Wave to me,
right
Dr.
somewhere
Hawker.
back here. And so Dr. Hawker is here, and any of us or all of us would be happy to meet at any time to work on this.
Okay, great. We'll be calling.
And one of the real challenges, Senator Corcoran, is that we are now providing grants to for-profit hospitals who have no affiliation or don't work at all or cooperate with the medical schools in terms of rotation or residency slots. It's a real issue we need to address.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, and I was down in your area not long ago before Christmas, and so I know that y'all have changed affiliations and broken some ties down there, and maybe we can work to kind of get all this back on track. Maybe
We're happy to work with anybody.
Yeah, let's get it all back on track. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Corcoran. Senator West.
Just a quick comment. We're giving grants to hospitals across the state, and obviously the terms and conditions of those grants. And so we need to look at those terms and conditions of grants also to see whether or not we can make certain that those slots are available as part of those terms and conditions.
Thank you, President Bailey. I guess you'll now present the medical.
I am still Guy Bailey, and I'm presenting on behalf of our School of Medicine and our School of Podiatric Medicine, both of whom are funded under the HRI formula. And as you know, we're a much larger area than people recognize, more than 1.5 million residents. And as you can see from the slides that we have, we're one of the most medically underserved communities, or group of communities in the nation, and with significant health disparities. And so the UT RGV School of Medicine and School of Podiatric Medicine were formed to help resolve these gaps. And if you look at slide 4, you can see some of the things that have been done to transform the health of the Rio Grande Valley. And in the interest of time, I'm not going to go over all of these, but note just a couple of important points. We produce 238 medical graduates now and have had 408 residents and fellows graduate. About 46% of our students are from the Rio Grande Valley and have completed their degrees at UT RGV. And our practice plan, UT Health RGV, has 25 clinical sites throughout the valley. And I should mention this, including an institute of neuroscience that houses the state's only National Institute on Aging designated Alzheimer's Disease Research Center. And so later this year, we'll open a cancer and surgery center. And by the way, I want to thank MD Anderson, the folks at MD Anderson. They've been very supportive and helpful in our getting this. If it were not for them, we would not have been able to get this done. And most recently, with the support of a very large private grant, our School of Podiatric Medicine and School of Medicine are opening a limb preservation center, which falls under a larger umbrella of a diabetes center of excellence. And this will include a multidisciplinary team of specialists who work to manage diabetes and prevent limb loss. And so it's absolutely crucial in the Rio Grande Valley. So as you probably know, you mentioned with UT Austin, they have a hospital district. We do not. Most medical schools in the state operate in areas with hospital districts. And so that provides some constraint on our revenues. And then our payer mix is a little different as well, and we're heavily reliant on Medicaid. And that's why we're so grateful to you for all of your support in making the medical school and the School of Podiatric Medicine happen. Your support's been crucial there. We really have just a few exceptional items we want to request here. First, we're requesting an additional $5 million to support the operations of the new cancer center that's opening this summer, and these funds will be used to support the recruitment and hiring of oncologists and clinical cancer research folks. And very important for the Rio Grande Valley, we are number one in the nation. This is not a good statistic in cervical cancer. And so we think we'll provide a significant resource for the Rio Grande Valley there. And our second request is $5 million over the biennium to help support the operations of our limb preservation and diabetes management center. And then the third, if you consider capital projects, we have partial funding to build a limb preservation center, but we're also asking for $23 million from the state to help finish construction for that. With these things, if we can address issues of diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer's, we'll have made a significant impact on healthcare in the Rio Grande Valley. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer questions.
I think that's all the questions we have, President Bailey, and thank you for your leadership, being
Thank
the
you.
founding president of UTRGV, and Dean Hawker for your work with the School of Medicine.
Thank you.
Next, we have the University of Texas at the Permian Basin, Ms. Sandra Woodley.